Welcome back to my channel and this episode. If you haven't listened to the first episode yet, please check out the collection on this channel. To give it a listen. You will now continue listening to Chapter 2 of the Google series, The History of Google. Main articles, History of Google and List of Mergers and Acquisitions by Alphabet. See also, Alphabet Incorporated. Early years, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Larry Page and Sergey Brin in 2003. Google began in January 1996 as a research project by Larry Page and Sergey Brin, while they were both PhD students at Stanford University in California, United States. 23, 24, 25. The project initially involved an unofficial third founder, Scott Hassan, the original lead programmer who wrote much of the code for the original Google search engine, but he left before Google was officially founded as a company. 26, 27. Hassan went on to pursue a career in robotics and founded the company Willow Garage in 2006. 28, 29. While conventional search engines ranked results by counting how many times the search terms appeared on the page, they theorized about a better system that analyzed the relationships among websites. 30. They called this algorithm PageRank. It determined a website's relevance by the number of pages and the importance of those pages that linked back to the original site. 31, 30. Page told his ideas to Hassan, who began writing the code to implement Page's ideas. 26. Page and Brin would also use their friend Susan Wojcicki's garage as their office when the search engine was set up in 1998, 32. Page and Brin originally nicknamed the new search engine Backrub because the system checked backlinks to estimate the importance of a site. 23, 33, 34. Hassan, Oshvelosh Olan Sterenberg were cited by Page and Brin as being critical to the development of Google. Raif Motvani and Terry Winograd later co-authored with Page and Brin the first paper about the project, describing PageRank, and the initial prototype of the Google search engine published in 1998. Hector Garcia Molina and Jeffrey Ullman were also cited as contributors to the project. Sanjou, PageRank was influenced by a similar page ranking and site scoring algorithm earlier used for RankDex, developed by Robin Lai in 1996, with Page's PageRank patent, including a citation to Li's earlier RankDex patent. Lai later went on to create the Chinese search engine Baidu. 36, 37. Eventually, they changed the name to Google. Well, the name of the search engine was a misspelling of the word Google. 23, 38, 39. A very large number written 10100, one followed by 100 zeros, picked to signify that the search engine was intended to provide large quantities of information. 40. Google was initially funded by an August 1998 investment of $100,000 from Andy Bechtolsheim, 23, co-founder of Sun Microsystems. This initial investment served as a motivation to incorporate the company to be able to use the funds. 41, 42. Page and Brin initially approached David Cheriton for advice because he had a nearby office in Stanford, and they knew he had startup experience, having recently sold the company he co-founded, Granite Systems, to Cisco for $220 million. David arranged a meeting with Page and Brin and his Granite co-founder, Andy Bechtolsheim. The meeting was set for 8 a.m. at the front porch of David's home in Palo Alto, and it had to be brief because Andy had another meeting at Cisco where he now worked after the acquisition at 9 a.m. Andy briefly tested a demo of the website, liked what he saw, and then went back to his car to grab the check. David Cheriton later also joined in with around $200,000 investment. 43-44. Google's homepage in 1998. Google's original homepage had a simplistic design because the company founders had little experience in HTML, the markup language used for designing web pages. 45. Google received money from two other angel investors in 1998, including Amazon founder Jeff Bezos and entrepreneur Ram Shriram. 46. Page and Brin had first approached Shriram, who was a venture capitalist, for funding and counsel, and Shriram invested $250,000 in Google in February 1998. Shriram knew Bezos because Amazon had acquired Junglee, at which Shriram was the president. It was Shriram who told Bezos about Google. Bezos asked Shriram to meet Google's founders, and they met 6 months after Shriram had made his investment when Bezos and his wife were on a vacation trip to the Bay Area. Google's initial funding round had already formally closed, but Bezos' status as CEO of Amazon was enough to persuade Page and Brin to extend the round and accept his investment. 47-48. Between these initial investors, friends, and family, Google raised around $1 million, which is what allowed them to open up their original shop in Menlo Park, California. 49. Craig Silverstein, a fellow PhD student at Stanford, was hired as the first employee. 25. 50. 51. After some additional small investments through the end of 1998 to early 1999-46, a new $25 million round of funding was announced on the 7th of June 1999, 52, with major investors including the venture capital firms Kleiner Perkins and Sequoia Capital. 42. Both firms were initially hesitant about investing jointly in Google, as each wanted to retain a larger percentage of control over the company to themselves. Page and Brin insisted on taking investments from both. Both venture companies finally agreed to investing jointly $12.5 million each, due to their belief in Google's great potential, and through the mediation of earlier angel investors Ron Conway and Shriram, who had contacts in the venture companies. 53. In 1998, Page and Brin proposed to sell Google to Yahoo for $1 million, but Yahoo refused. 54. A more significant opportunity for Yahoo to acquire Google came in 2002. Terry Semel, Yahoo's then CEO, offered $3 billion to purchase the company, but Page and Brin reportedly held firm on a $5 billion valuation. After Yahoo refused to raise its offer, the deal fell through, a move that would later be considered a major strategic misstep for Yahoo. 55. Thank you very much for listening. This concludes the second chapter on Google. I know this took a bit of time, but in the next chapter, we will cover the topic of growth. I look forward to seeing you again. I will post the chapters for the first volume in the introduction list. Please head there if you need them.